Hello, Billy Reeves here. Welcome to the Kscope podcast number 102. In this episode, brand new music from the award-winning Iamthemorning, music from Paul Draper from White Moth Black Butterfly, and brand new music from the new album out now by Nosound. The LP is called Allow Yourself. The new video for this track is out now. Nosound, This Night.
You took me by surprise, the light through the open blinds, waking up before your eyes. I can see the other side. I stand in front of your face, the radio plays our favorite song. With your hands you're starting to trace away where I've never gone.
Nosound, This Night from Allow Yourself. Out now, finding the band in a new space, a stripping back of what has come before, and its inspirations are in a different field altogether, based on founder and songwriters Giancarlo Erra's own shifting interests. And I popped over to Giancarlo to have a look at his fantastic photographs of the night sky and to ask him about said interests?
Finding beauty in what I don't like.
Okay.
I don't know if it
Explain.
Yeah, I mean, for example, sometimes it happens that you listen to some. I mean, for example, for Spotify, I love Spotify. I always, every day, go on Spotify and just try to discover new stuff. And very often, you just happen to something plays and you just don't like it. You know, when you just cringe and you say, "Oh no, I can't. You know, I can't stand this kind of music." That is the thing that we all think that. And I just arrived to a point where I just start questioning myself. I said, right, okay, why I'm not liking this music?
What's the prejudice? Yeah.
Exactly. Well, if there is, maybe it's just not my kind of music. I don't know. It's a K-pop single, and I just honestly, I just don't like it, and it's fine. But
it's not for you, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But I think most of the times it is. For most of the times, it is prejudice. It is what we are used to listen to more than do we really like it.
Okay.
And I think that's doing this exercise more and more often. I think that I just found beauty in things that I necessarily didn't like before. And this process actually opened another door that was a very big door for me, that is in difference and in variety and in what you don't necessarily like. It is where very often beauty is, meaning that I just like the music that is different from what I will do and what I would generally like. And I think that in this album there was this kind of thing. So basically this process opened for me. When I was writing, I felt finally or suddenly free. And it was just myself. I was keeping myself in the cage. You know, it was not the fault of anyone else. It was just me. I was feeling more free to explore. So, you know, there were these chords on the piano. And then I knew that, I wouldn't necessarily go on something a bit dissonant. Or, I wouldn't want to use electronics. Or just because I realized that I actually love that stuff. I wasn't used to it. And I wasn't going open-minded, really, to just appreciate it. It doesn't mean you like everything.
Yeah, no, open-minded is a really good way of putting it, I think.
Yeah.
I wondered if there was, what I got from it, I wondered if there was a chance this time and a deliberate plan to stretch you as a singer, I wondered this time, because the singing is quite different. The singing, it's quite, the melodies are very different. You're very much at the top of your envelope a lot of the time. And there's a lot more emotion in it. It's not kind of treated. Some of it is actually quite raw. Would that be fair?
Yeah. I mean, that was possibly what opened everything. Because I mean, I'm a self-taught musician, so I always like to study myself, whether it is piano, drums, bass, guitars, whatever it is. But then, for example, about the piano and singing, I basically decided that I wanted to have a wider range of expression, in particular for the singing, because this is the main instrument. And listening back to my old albums, I was always thinking, it sounds restrained. It sounds like I would want to do more. But
sometimes it sounds, I think from the early ones, sometimes it sounds as though the singing was the final thing. There's been sort of like more time spent on other things, and the singing is something that's kind of buried a little bit. It just seemed to me this time the singing was the most important thing, which I like.
Yes, and I mean, I do like as well. And because the singing is always there, and with time, from the early albums down, then to the other ones, I went to, even with Scintilla, just writing shorter pieces of music, concentrating the attention on what is the core of the music, without having self-indulging stuff, solos, melodies. In this album, there are no guitars, there are no guitars at all. There is actually no guitar.
There's literally more singing.
There is literally, but there is literally no guitars as well.
Yeah.
Just in one track there is one guitar, and that's it. There is no guitar of any sort. And the singing, actually, I studied a lot singing in the last 3-4 years with a very, very good teacher here in Norwich. And I think that because he's a pianist as well, he really, let's say Actually, my mindset was in the right place to be open-minded and just accept that, studying is not going to modify who I am, but it's actually going to expand.
Only half true, only half true before I can't get through, can't of the ones who play the part. You are the door left ajar. Don't be proud, don't be ashamed of the scars you carry on. Enjoy the run of the time going by. Don't be afraid, don't escape, don't you dare.
There was a certain Englishness about the kind of reverie, the melancholy of those records, whereas this, I think, is much more Red Rose. It's much more romantic. It's much more Italian in a way.
That's interesting. When you started,
Because it's English music that you're into. That's what.
oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And there is always that. That's a great British tradition, the kind of like gentle melancholy of your records. Whereas this one, I don't think it has that.
No, it doesn't have the gentle part. I mean, I always identified myself with this gentle part, if you want, and apparently lots of our fans also I identified with that, because you know, from some of the comments of Don't You Dare, you know, people were saying, I prefer when it was all lush sunscapes and whatnot, and I was saying, well, we have done it. I mean, we don't need to repeat it again. For me, it's possibly more of the opposite. It's very interesting because for me, being Italian is much more about the drama and the setup, if you want, is the scene, is the... I mean, I don't want to say it is the superficial part, because this is not what I mean, but it's more about the presentation. That's what it is, exactly. While for me, being British, it is more about essence. I think that what I like of this country, and this is why I moved here, and I just don't want to go back to Italy anytime. I mean, it is because I like that here, I think in a way, there is what I was telling you before. There is more. Things are organized. People usually they have tendency of be more organized and more factual than Italians. Okay. It can be unpleasant if there is something to be done and is not done. I can really be unpleasant.
I guess that's because you're not unpleasant. So when
exactly. Yes,
I'm thinking about what it's like for the rest of the band. Thinking, oh, hang on.
Yes,
if
exactly. Most of the time, I'm
rage up. Then we need to.
Yes, I can be because there is no excuse to that.
Okay, then let light into magic then. What was the situation during this album where you had a rage on? Was there a situation where you thought, this is just not going to happen unless I put my foot down? Who was it? Spill.
Who was it?
Or have you erased the trauma from your memory?
Well, no, I mean, actually, what happened is that I was a bit mad with I wasn't bad, but, you know, like with Marco, with the keyboard player, because I just told him, you know, we wanted to do some stuff on the album, but obviously I have all my synthesizers here.
Oh,
It's
right,
all
of course,
here,
yeah,
and I
I've
just
seen
told
the
him,
book, yeah.
I'm not bringing, I don't know, the Juno and the Prophet or whatever. I'm not bringing them so easily. So you actually just go on a plane, you fly here, and
You made him come here.
oh yeah, he arrived here.
How easy is it to get here from Italy? Because is there an airport here?
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's, he just landed. I don't remember Stansted, Newton, whatever.
Oh,
it is.
Stansted, of course. Yeah,
And obviously
Brilliant.
he arrived during the. There was the very heavy snow that we have
Oh, right,
here. So
okay.
basically, when he arrived, he arrived like late midnight because there were no trains. Everything was blocked for snow. And
Which track is that then? Because surely that bled
Yes.
into the tension in the music.
or it's Don't You Dare.
Oh, right,
There was the ending scene of Don't You Dare. I really, really wanted to do something, and I just told him, "Come on, we need
Get on a plane, man.
Exactly, you need to come here." I mean, he was busy doing. To be fair with him, I knew that he was busy, but I knew that there was no way around it. So I just told him, tell me when is that weekend that you're free, and we get all tickets, everything is sorted out.
Brilliant.
Just bring yourself on a plane, and it was very good. And
You should write the book, man. I would buy. I would pay good money. But yours and the KLF's book, I would pay good money.
I promise you, I will remember I owe to you, I won't forget, I'll wait for you, to let you go.
Nosound from the album Allow Yourself, which is out now. That's entitled Weights. Before that, Don't You Dare. You can see the video for that track at kscopemusic.com/no. And before that, This Night. Out in crystal clear heavyweight vinyl, CD and digital download. You can order your copy right now from kscopemusic.com/no, and you can catch Nosound at the Union Chapel on Tuesday the 2nd of October. This is our 10th anniversary show alongside Anathema, Paul Draper and some special guests. Sadly, Iamthemorning won't be playing a full set as Mariana is unfortunately able to come, but Gleb Kolyadin will be playing an extended set. The doors open at 6:15, so get there early for a full night's entertainment from some of Kscope's finest acts, and I'll be emceeing. Now, talking about Iamthemorning, they have recently unveiled a new track. It's entitled 5-4, and it's from an intimate studio film being released on the 19th of October entitled Ocean Sounds, recorded on a very remote Norwegian island. Let's hear from Ocean Sounds then, Iamthemorning, 5-4. behind-the-scenes insight into the recording techniques of the award-winning, highly praised Russian duo Iamthemorning, two of modern progressive music's most talented composers, I'd argue, Gleb Kolyadin and Mariana Semkina. Ocean sounds, and it's a studio film released on the 19th of October. Now, Gleb, as mentioned, will be performing tracks from his solo album at our 10th anniversary due on Tuesday. That's the 2nd of October at the Union Chapel, and also performing the Mansun frontman Paul Draper. Paul's heading out on an acoustic tour around the UK in November, starting on the 14th, finishing on the 24th. He's going to Bath, Wolverhampton, Cambridge, Leicester, York, Aberdeen, Edinburgh and Stockton-on-Tees beautiful Georgian Theatre on the 24th of November. So let's hear the acoustic version then of Paul Draper's Jealousy Is a Powerful Emotion.
Jealousy, it has a power that's 9 tenths of it all. The other part is just your reason for wanting me to fall. Jealousy, it has the power above religion and the law, and it all ends up in a disaster. So don't covet what's not yours. Jealousy, it has the power. So don't covet this, it is all yours. Now you've listened to my story, a cautionary tale for sure. Where there's money, power, there is treason, and so you sold your story for more. Jealousy, it has the power above religion and the law, and it all ends up in a disaster. So don't covet what's not yours. Jealousy, it has the power. So don't covet this, it is all yours. 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 You may have thought you won the battle, but you did not win the war. Because he who laughs out loud the longest is laughing at you all. Jealousy, it has the power above religion and the law, and it all ends up in a disaster. So don't covet what's not yours. Jealousy, it has the power. Jealousy, it has the power. Jealousy, it has the power. Don't covet this, it is all yours.
Paul Draper, Jealousy is a Powerful Emotion. Now, also playing at Kscope's 10th anniversary night at the Union Chapel in Islington on Tuesday, that's October the 2nd, are Anathema as part of their ambient acoustic tour, which is taken in France, is in Holland this week, and then throughout the UK in October, Leeds, London at the Union Chapel, the 3rd at Manchester, the 4th at Glasgow at the Macintosh Church, and this is in support of Internal Landscapes 2008 to 2018, coming out on the 26th of October, a 13-track journey through the best of Anathema's Kscope years, curated by Daniel Kavanagh. Now, also on tour throughout November, TesseracT will be in Europe with support from Between the Buried and Me and Pliny. The UK leg takes in Manchester, Bristol, Birmingham, Glasgow, London and Dublin before going to mainland Europe through November. kscopemusic.com/Tess for ticket links and the full tour routing. And talking of TesseracT, let's finish with some Daniel Tompkins, shall we? The vocalist of TesseracT and White Moth Black Butterfly, a tone expanded edition featuring reworkings from percussive guitarists Pat Cunningham and John Gomm, and a new White Moth Black Butterfly remix for this track, Rising Sun. Thanks very much for listening and downloading the Kscope podcast. Always very thrilling to hear these great acts and to have their time to speak to as well. Do please support independent music by sharing this podcast, liking this podcast wherever you listen to it, and of course subscribing. My name's Billy Reeves. I'll see you on Tuesday. Ta-da!
Step out from the old to the young. There's something wrong with finding you here, hiding in darkness and reveling in wrong.
We're borrowing time tonight till the sunlight comes. It's never easy. No, it never was. We're borrowing time tonight till the sunlight comes.
Patiently wait. Midnight brings no hope of escape. It's never-ending flittering, hiding in darkness and reveling in wrong.
We're borrowing time tonight till the sunlight comes. It's never easy. No, it never was. We're borrowing time tonight till the sunlight comes. You disappear with the rising sun. Rising sun. Rising sun. Rising sun. When will you?
When I'm waking to the world, I know that you're